Hello.
Revenge on a terrible neighbor years ago. I rented a townhouse while working on a studio contract. The house was nice, to be DR, that I shared with my girlfriend, now my wife. There was a single attached garage, which is a main part of the story. The next door neighbor, who we'll call Chad, was a real piece of work. He was mid-30s, balding, which he tried to hide with a buzz cut, and one of the shortest men I've ever met. He compensated for his lack of height by having a giant lifted custom pickup truck that was too tall to park in his garage. His other pride and joy was a heavily modified Honda Civic, which he liked to rev the engine loudly most days. Chad had 4 friends who he would sit with at the end of his driveway and drink beer all day, leaving empty beer cans everywhere. When I started renting the house in the spring, Chad was initially friendly, offering to move his car to allow the movers to easier access the house. He parked in both spots, despite a visitor lot right across the street. After the movers left, Chad mentioned that the previous tenants let him use their garage for his car in the winter, as his was full of exercise equipment and the sweet motorcycle he was building. I told him that the landlord hadn't given me the key or the access code yet, and the only way I could open the garage was from the inside. Chad mentioned that neither his keys nor the code he had worked anymore either. A bit later, when I was talking to the landlord and mentioned Chad and the garage, he told me to never share the code, the keys, or the garage itself with Chad. The previous tenants had been robbed just after Christmas, the reason why they moved away, and the landlord suspected that Chad and his friends had been the ones responsible, despite there being no evidence. The landlord changed the locks and access code as part of cleaning up the house for a next tenant. A month or so later, I learned from another neighbor that Chad's dad had been a local cop and died when Chad was a teenager, and the police gave him a pass on disturbance calls and the like, something he took advantage of. Chad kept pressuring me to give him access to my garage, and got really angry when I finally told him no. Maybe his temper stemmed from his lack of height or some other factor, but he was upset enough that his friends had to hold him back from physically attacking me. From that point on, I would find empty beer cans on my lawn. He and his friends would catcall my wife when they saw her alone. He would park his truck blocking access to my driveway, would blast music at all hours of the day and night, and other ways to make a nuisance of himself. As winter came, things got worse as he was no longer allowed to park his truck on the street and was denied parking in the visitor lot. Later, some kids vandalized the car cover to his Honda and scratched the paint, which he blamed on me not letting him use my garage. After the new year, I found all of my exterior Christmas decorations ripped off the house and destroyed on my lawn. I decided to take some revenge, starting that night, which was the beginning of a really bad cold snap. I watered his car using the garden hose to spray down his car from 10 p.m. to 5 a.m. every 30 minutes or so. By the next morning, a thick layer of ice covered his fast and furious mobile, pinning it to his driveway. I hid the garden hose in my garage before anyone saw it. When Chad saw the state of his car, his rage was legendary. He screamed, yelled, and woke up the entire neighborhood with his antics. The police and fire department came, did nothing, and left. Chad's friends tried to use various power tools to free his car, and one of them actually cut into one of the tires and fender using a sawzall. About a week later, the ice had thinned enough that the car popped free. Chad broke the windshield trying to remove large chunks of ice. That spring, my work contract ended and I moved away, free of Chad. I decided to share this story as I'm still good friends with my previous landlord, and he told me that Chad and his friends are now in jail after they got caught robbing a convenience store just after the recent holidays. TL/DR. I watered my neighbor's car in the middle of winter, trapping it to his driveway.